And welcome back to On the Record. I'm your host, Michael Stock. In studio, Mohawk Council Chief Carl Horn. You were talking about 13-year-old. It starts earlier than that. With some kids in some families, and I was listening to, I guess, the piece that you were doing when you were on the radio with Lynn and with Ross, and some of that. You talk about some of those issues. About it being in the home, and it's hard to deal with situations like that, and obviously in your position it's not something that you're going to deal specifically with. It's more community services that are going to be dealing with those issues. But what is the task force saying? Because they've been sitting down for quite a long time now, dealing with a lot of issues, and Mike DeLille, 2-3 years ago, or it was before the last election, that he got up and said that we're going to deal with this drug issue and it's going to be taken care of, and he said that it was part of the task force, and then all of a sudden we didn't hear anything until you came out publicly and said that you want to deal with this issue. So where are they right now, and what has been going on, or that you're continuing working on now?
I got to be honest. I met with them once, the task force, and obviously, they have a game plan set up. But for me to give any type of signal, like indication of where they're headed, it would be difficult for me. But because I met with them once, and we're meeting with them actually early this week, once again. But to me, the most important thing is. It starts at home, and that's the message they're trying to send at the meeting that I was at, and it's important to understand that there's always support. Like I said before, if you're not comfortable talking with your parents, then speak to your favorite teacher or an aunt or an uncle, and just to try and get the awareness out that there's always somebody there to help you. Like the old days of Ganawagi, if you ever needed help, there was always going to be somebody there to help you, whether it was your immediate family or somebody that lives 5 minutes away from you. There was always somebody there to help you, and that's what I'm trying to, get out there, that to these 12, 13-year-old, 14-year-old kids, that there's always somebody there to help you, somebody there to talk to, and like I said at the survival school on Monday was, if you don't feel comfortable speaking to your parents or a favorite teacher, try and get a hold of me. I'll do my best to try and help you. I mean, that's my job now. I mean, 12 years as a police officer, I have the experience and the expertise to try and, help you and lead you in the right direction. I mean, I'm not perfect. I made my share of mistakes, believe me, I just want to try and help a 12, 13-year-old, 14-year-old that, who feels they don't have nowhere to go. There's always somewhere to go in your own community. We're there to help you.
What do you say to the parent, though, that that child has gone through that, knowing that the child was an artist or a student or a top athlete, and they fell into the drug issues, or there is a predator out there going after them and having them sell and do that, or give it to them free to get them hooked to make them clients. What do you say to the parent when they say, well, every day I talk to my kid and I tell them don't do drugs, and then look what happened. It didn't start at the home. When it was outside. How can we get that person to not do that? Or you know what I mean? Because that must be frustrating for the parent.
Yeah, and it's good you brought that up, because like I said before, the earlier story the earlier story I mentioned was a community member had come to see me and explain the gory situation involving one of their child. 12, 13 years old, went to a private school, straight A student, honor roll, and like I said, now he's in lockdown in a hospital, and she doesn't know where she went wrong. She feels that herself and her husband, what did they do wrong, and that was I don't know what to say to them other than the fact that it's not your fault. It's just as a community we have to address this issue, and like I said, there's really no consequences right now for an individual, who's convicted of dealing drugs, other than you get a fine, which is, almost comical. And like I said, I don't see a problem, talking about the banishment, banishment effect at a council level, and see where we can go from there, as a community as a whole. It's not an easy situation.
It's not, and I think that it's hard because a lot of people are in the same situation, where their neighbors are selling it, or they're doing it in their yards, or they're selling it down the road, or so it's frustrating on that part. I mean, I know that you'd want to discuss the enforcement part of it. You sit on the police's portfolio. I guess that's somewhat they have to address that somewhere, because I think that in order for it to work as a community, we need obviously community support. Obviously, we need the support of the council itself. We need support of all the organizations, and we need support of all the stakeholders, regardless of who they are. And everybody has their job to do. And at the end of the day, somebody has to do the enforcement part, and that's a tough part, because I know I've been there for many years, and it was always a tough part to do. There's a lot of things that can probably go on, but the bottom line in the whole thing comes to money. And I've said it to you before, and when somebody asks me, that's what I tell them. The only way that you can get a hold of the situation is to put in money, to get the resources to do it. Because we can do it, we just need the money to do it, and the desire. I think the desire for most people are there. It's the money that we need to do, and we're a very rich community. I think that's what we should start throwing our resources in to try to. Because if you talk to that one parent, I know a few years ago, two women had come to me when I was on the road patrolling, and both of their kids had overdosed, and they didn't know what to do. So I helped them, and we ended up to do a big thing about it. But it was frustrating how they didn't know what to do. And I'm sure that there's a lot of other parents that are out there now saying, how can I deal with this? What do I do? Because you don't want to turn your kids in, or you don't want to turn in your neighbor. You don't want to turn in your relations. It's hard. But let's talk about that after our break, and we'll be back right after these messages.